This is Ms. Harris here to talk to you about division with the area model, shortcut. So you're going to start off by drawing a rectangle so that you can break your box up based on how many digits are in your dividend. Your dividend is your first number. Then your second number, which is called the divisor, whatever we're trying to divide by, that number goes on the side of your rectangle. Then you're going to make your multiplication list so that your answers will be right there in front of you. And we go one box at a time. The number that's in your box, you're looking for that number in your list of products that you've made without going over. So if you don't find that exact number, you need to get as close as you can without going over. Once you find what you need, you're going to circle it. Whatever's in your circle from your multiplication list should be over in your division box. So the number that's touching the top of your multiplication line is going to touch the top of your box. The number that's at the bottom of your multiplication line needs to go at the bottom of your box. Once you have two numbers inside the box, you're subtracting. Remember, when we divide, our values get smaller, so we need to subtract. Whatever is left over after you subtract, move it to the next box to make a two-digit number, and that is the new number that you're looking for. And you'll do steps 4 through 6 all over again. Once you make it to your last box, whatever is left over, that would be considered your remainder. And your answer or your quotient to the problem is always at the top of the box. But don't forget to show your remainder with the letter R and then whatever your leftover was after you subtracted. So let's see what that looks like. 96 divided by 2. 96 is my dividend, 2 is my divisor. First step, I have my rectangle already on the screen. So now I need to break my box based on how many digits are in my dividend, which is the first number. I have 2 digits, so I need 2 boxes. Next, my divisor goes on the side, which is that second number in the problem. All right, whatever your divisor is out here on the side, that lets you know what multiplication facts you need to make on your scratch paper. So we're going to always start your list with 0. This is so that those that struggle with their multiplication facts, the answers are in front of you. You don't have to try to think and try to count at the same time, trying to remembering your steps for the division problem. So your multiplication list is actually to help you, especially if you're not sure about your multiplication facts. So 2 times 0 is 0, 2, 6, 8, and 10. Stop with 5 just so you can go ahead and start the problem. And then you can continue the list if you need to do so as you continue working the problem. So my numbers in the box, 9 and 6. Notice how I left some space in front of my 6 because when I move it over, I need to be able to place that number right there beside that 6. All right, so I'm looking for 9 in my multiplication list without going over. The closest that I find is 8. 10 would be bigger than 9, so I can't pick 10. All right, so whatever's touching the top of my multiplication line needs to touch the top of my box. So 4 is touching the top of my line, and 8 is at the bottom. So 8 goes in the box. Subtract. 9 minus 8 is 1. Next step, whatever is left, move it to the next box. And now I'm looking for 16. As you see, I stopped with 10. Do not just go with what you see. You need to continue your list and see if you can find something else. So 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 8 is 16. Oh, I found 16. Circle it. Whatever's in my circle should be over here in the box. So 8 is touching the top of my line, so it needs to go on top of the box. And 16 is at the bottom of my line, so it needs to go at the bottom of the box. 16 minus 16 is 0. Your answer is always on top of the box. So 96 divided by 2 is 48. And because my last box, when I subtracted, I got 0, so I do not have a remainder. Remainder means left over. So there was nothing left over after I got done subtracting. So 48 is your answer. Let's try another one. Remember to press pause, try it yourself, and press play to check your work. All right, 85 divided by 3. I have 2 digits in my dividend, so I need to break my rectangle into 2 boxes. My divisor is 3, so 3 goes outside. 8 in the first box, 5 in the second box. My list of multiplication facts. Whatever I'm dividing by, those are the multiplication facts that I need. So 3, I always start with 0, times 0, 3 times 1, 3 times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5. Again, just go 1 through 5 just to get you started. If you need something else, you can always continue later. So 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. All right, 8 is in my first box. I'm looking for something close to 8 without going over. 3 times 2 equals 6. Again, you're looking at the answers over here, not the what you multiplied by. You're picking from the answers that you have. So whatever is at the top of my line, touching the top of my line, should touch the top of my box. So I have 2. What's at the bottom of my line is a 6. So 6 goes at the bottom of the box so that I can subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2. Whatever's left, move it to the next box. Now I'm looking for 25. I stopped at 15. I need to keep going to see if I can get closer. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 8 is 24. I think that'll work, but I always go one more to be sure. 3 times 9 is 27. So I'm going to circle 3 times 8 equals 24. What's touching the top of my line? So 8 touches the top of my box. What's at the bottom of my line? So 24 goes at the bottom of my box. Subtract, and that's 1. So my answer is 28. However, I had something left this time, so I have to show that in my answer, remainder 1. R stands for remainder. Remainder means leftover. All right, let's try another one. 145 divided by 5. This time, my box is going to need 3 because I have 3 digits in that first number. So 3 boxes, 1 digit in each box. I'm dividing by 5, so it goes on the side. And my list this time is going to be for 5s. Start with 0. And again, this step is in case you struggle with your multiplication facts, that you will have your answers in front of you so that you're not overthinking and overworking yourself. All right, so 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 1 is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And if you notice, you might say, well, you said I don't know my multiplication facts and I'm making a list and I have to put the answers. Well, all I did just then was skip count it to fill in the answers. So that helps as well. All right, so my first box is 1. I'm looking for 1 over here in my products, the closest I can get without going over. The biggest number or the smallest number I have is 5, and that's still too much. So this is why we start our think box with 0, because if nothing works, you can always use 0. So what's touching the top of my line? 0 needs to touch the top of my box. What's at the bottom of my line? 0 goes at the bottom of my box. Subtract, that leaves me with 1. So remember, move it over to the next box. So now I'm looking for 14. All right, what's the closest I can get? 10. 15 would be too much. All right, what's touching the top of my line? So what goes at the top of your box? What's touching the bottom of my line? So it goes at the bottom of the box. Subtract. 14 minus 10 is 4. Move that over. Now we're looking for 45. I stopped at 25. I need to see if I can get closer, so we have to keep going on our list. Don't just take what you see. 5 times 6, 30. 5 times 7, 35. 5 times 8, 40. 5 times 9, 45. There's my number I want. What's touching the top of my line? So what touches the top of my box? What's touching the bottom of my line? What goes at the bottom of the box? Subtract 0. I do not have another box to move to, so that's how I know I'm done. Your answer is always at the top of your box. That 0 in front, that's like a placeholder, so that we know you never say a number. Oh, the number is 029. That's not right. So your answer is just 29. I did not have a remainder because in my last box, 0 is what I got after I subtracted. All right, try another one. 349 divided by 7. 349 divided by 7. So our box or rectangle needs 3 boxes. Put a digit in each one. Remember to press pause and try it yourself. Press play, check your work. 7 on the outside. My multiplication facts this time would be good, 7. I always start with 0. And remember, stop at 5 just to get started. If you need some later, you can always go back and finish. So 0, 7, 14, 21, 28, and 35. All right, so we're looking for 3 in the first box. So I look at my list. 7 is too big. So we're going to use 0. All right, so whatever's touching the top of your line touches the top of your box. Bottom of your line goes at the bottom. Subtract, get 3, and move it over. Don't forget to move it over. All right, 34 is my new number. I see 35. That's too much. So we're going to have to pick 28. All right, so what's touching the top of my line? So 4 goes on top. What's at the bottom of my line? So 28 goes at the bottom. Now we're ready to subtract. All right, remember your subtracting rules. Just because you're doing a division problem, those subtraction rules still apply. So if I look and see what I have in the ones place, 4 minus 8, you cannot take 8 from 4. So we need to do what? Regroup. 3 becomes 2. That 4 becomes 14. All right, so 14 minus 8 is 6. And 2 minus 2 is 0. You can show the 0 or not, doesn't matter. But move that 6 over to the next box. Now we're looking for 69. We stopped at 35, so 7 times 6, 42. 7 times 7, 49. 7 times 8, 56. 7 times 9, 63. 7 times 10, 70. So we're going to use 63. What's touching the top of your line? The 9 goes on top of the box. What's touching the bottom of your line? 63 goes at the bottom of the box. And we do what inside the box? Subtract. 9 minus 3 is 6. All right, I do not have another box to go to, so I'm done. Your answer to a division problem is always on top. So I was able to make 49 groups, but I had a remainder of 6. Remember, division is all about trying to take what you have in all, and you're trying to break it into groups. So technically what this problem is asking you, if you have 349 apples and you're trying to put them into 7 groups, how many apples will be in each group? 49. How many will be left out of the groups? 6 of them, because there was not enough to make another group. All right, try the next one. Whoa, this time I got 4 digits. Does that matter? No, you still got these. Same steps, just more boxes. So I need to see 4. All right, and then a digit in each box. And again, notice how I'm leaving space in front of each number as I write them in the box, because when you move over, you need to be sitting your subtraction in front of it. All right, and we're dividing by 4, so it goes outside the box. What multiplication facts are we making? Good, 4s. So start with 0. Do not forget to start with 0. Remember to stop at 5 just to go ahead and get us started. All right, and that's 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. All right, so first box, I have a 4. I have a 4 in my multiplication. And remember, you're looking at the answers, not that top number or the top factor. You're looking at the products in your scratch work. So what did I multiply to get 4? So that 1 is touching the top of my line, touches the top of the box. 4 is at the bottom of my line, goes at the bottom of the box, subtract. Nothing left over, so I can move that. And so I'm looking for 2. The smallest actual number I have is 4, so we got to use 0. What's at the top of my line? 0. What's at the bottom of my line? 0. And this just so that we can get that number moved over. You have to show that 0 in the middle of the problem. So now I have the number 24. I stopped on 20. Remember to keep going just to make sure. So 4 times 6, I got 24. So I circle what's touching the top of my line. So it touches the top of the box. What touches the bottom goes in the bottom. And then I subtract. 24 minus 24 is 0. All right, move it over to the next box. Now I'm looking for the number 8. Oh, I have 8. What's touching the top of my line goes at the top of the box. What's touching the bottom of my line goes at the bottom. Subtract and 0. All right, we know we're done because there's not another box to go to. Where are your answers located when you finish? Good, at the top. So your answer, your quotient, 1062. And we do not have a remainder because in the last box, my answer was 0. All right, try the next one. Remember to press pause, try it by yourself, press play, and check your work. All right, 4 digits again, so I need to see 4 boxes in my rectangle. A digit in each box. Remember to leave that space out in front of them. I'm dividing by 7. So I make my multiplication list, 4, 7. Remember to stop at 5 just to get started. You can always finish it later if you need to. So we have 0, 7, 14, 21, 28, and 35. I'm looking for the number 8. The closest I can get is 7. So what's touching the top of my line goes at the top. What's at the bottom of my line goes at the bottom. Subtract, we get 1. Remember, you can move that over. So now I'm looking for 13. And I see 14, but remember, do not go over the number in your box. So even though I've already circled the 7, you can use it again. Just because you've already circled something, that does not matter. If you need it, you use it again. So what goes at the top? 1. What goes at the bottom? 7. We subtract. 13 minus 7 is 6. Move that over to the next box, and now I'm looking for 60. I stopped at 35. Remember to keep going so to see if that's the closest you can get. 42. 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times 8 is 56. And 7 times 9 is 63. So I'm going to use 56. What's touching the top of my line goes at the top. What's at the bottom of my line, it needs to go at the bottom. And I subtract. Remember your subtraction rules. I cannot take 6 from 0. So I need to regroup. This becomes 5. This becomes 10. Can you see my 1? Okay. 10 minus 6 is 4. And we know 5 minus 5 is 0. So we're going to move that forward to the next box. And now I'm looking for 49. I see 49. What's at the top of my line goes at the top of my box. Whatever's at the bottom of it goes at the bottom. And then I subtract and 0. So 8,309 divided by 7 is equal to 1,187. Do I have a remainder? No, I do not, because in the last box, after I subtracted, the answer was 0. Now that we have practiced together, here is your chance to practice by yourself. Feel free to rewind the video if you get stuck on a certain step to see what you should do. Get an adult to check it for you. Don't cheat. If you don't have an adult to check it for you, you can always check it with a calculator, but make sure you work it out first and try it to the best of your ability. All right, you got this. Thanks for watching, and I hope this was helpful. See you next time.